There we go. Right. Here we go. So we are on Bava Metsia 38a Lamed Ches Amud Aleph, and I'll do a touch of a recap because it's been a while, and we're talking about somebody who deposits fruit with somebody else, and the issue is that the fruit is rotting, it's spoiling, and the question that the shomer, the guard for this fruit, has is, well, what should I do? The owner is out of touch, out of contact. I can't get a hold of him to ask him what to do. What am I supposed to do in this circumstance? Should I leave it alone? Should I sell it? Should I do something to look after it? What? So the Mishnah brings an argument about what to do if you're looking after fruit that is rotting. The first opinion says, do not touch them. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you should sell them before a basting so that you can at least give the money back to the owner. Now, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel's reasoning, his opinion makes a lot of sense. We understand that these fruits are deposited with this person so that he can look after them. And part of looking after them might mean selling them and rescuing their value. But the first opinion, the Tanna Kama in the Mishnah, says, no, just leave them alone. And the Gemara ponders why that is and brings two reasons based from two different people. My time, what's the reason? Amar Rav Kahana said, Adam writes to Bekash Shalom Mitisha Kam Shachaveh. So just after the Mishnah, where it says Gemara, we're going from the starting like that. So Rav Kahana says that you should leave them alone according to the first opinion of Mishnah because people want their own stuff. And if the owner was standing here, he would say, I don't care how much of it rots, I want my own. Rav Nachman Mayisa says, we worry that the owner might have designated this fruit that you're looking after as truma or masa, which are the tithes that we had to take from Israeli grown produce, and we give these tithes to a kohen or a levi. Different rules apply to them, and we worry that the owner might have made this fruit that is being looked after as truma masa on other food. So if that's the case, then you can't sell it because then you'd be selling truma masa to regular Yisraelim, non-Kohen, non-Levi people who aren't allowed to eat such foods. So that's the argument of Kahana and Rahma. So obviously, it comes to the same thing in the Mishnah, which is to say that the owner should not sell them, they should just leave them alone. I want to jump down a bit to another opinion on this. Now we've got, so we are now, second. We see where it says Gemara. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines down. Welcome. Shall I come? Okay, thank you. So Rabbi Baba Chana quotes Rabbi Yochanan, who brings in a rider for this view. And so Rabbi Chana, so we're up to this bit now, just 12 lines down from the start of the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Baba Chana Am Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Baba Chana said that Rabbi Yochanan machlekes b'chdei chesreina. Truth is, he puts it all in context. He said the only argument in the Mishnah is when the rotting is happening in a normal way. Do you have one?
No, I just got to move my glasses.
Okay. Here, let me get one for you. Just a second. Okay, so Rabbi Baba Chana said, the argument is only when the fruit is perishing in a normal way. But if it is spoiling, rotting at a more than usual rate, everybody agrees we should sell them in basting. Now, so the Gemara considers the opinion of Rabbi Baba Chana quoting Rabbi Yochanan. David, you with us there?
I think it's in the new Gemara, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes,
right,
it is. Yeah. If one considers view Rabba Bachana and Rabbi Yechon. So first of all, whom does he argue with? So he definitely argues with Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Here is Alan, good man. So he definitely argues with Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. According to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, you daren't sell anything because the owner might have made it in Truma Masa. So it doesn't matter how fast or so shortly, you just can't. Because if you sell it and then you find that the person who bought it is not a Kohen or a Levi, which is quite likely, you're in trouble. So you can't do that. So it is definite that Rabba Bar Chana, quoting Rabbi Yochanan, argues with Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says you can't sell it because the owner might have made it in Truma Masa, and Rabba Bar Chana says in the Rabbi Yochanan that if it's an unusual rate of loss, you can sell it. So clearly those opinions are at loggerheads. Hello, Alan. Welcome.
Hi, Rabbi.
Nice to have you with us.
Lovely to see you.
You too. Baruch Hashem. Okay. Ad Rav Kahana Mine Mapliga. Does Rav Kahana say, does he argue with Rabba Bar Chana, who limits this to this idea of holding on to the fruit and not selling it to a situation where the fruit is only decomposing in a normal way? So the Gemara says, well, maybe when Rav Kahana says that people like to have their own stuff and therefore you shouldn't sell it, that's talking about a normal rate of loss. But when there's an excessive rate of loss, Rav Kahana would concede that you mustn't let that you can sell the stuff rather than just let it go and rot. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, Rav Kahana says you'd rather have one cap of your own rather than 9 of somebody else's. Well, I say, yeah, okay, fine. It's just the way of talking. It doesn't really mean literally that. Don't get carried away. So, it's a bit hyperbolic. So that's what the Gemara says. So let's see this inside. Ad Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Vadei Pliga. Rabba Bar Chana in the name of Rabbi Yochanan definitely argues with Rabbi Nachman Bar Yitzchak, because Rabba Bar Chana, Rabbi Yochanan says that if there's an excessive rate of loss, you should sell the fruit, and Rabbi Nachman Bar Yitzchak says you cannot sell them under any circumstances because the owner might have made it into Truma Masa. So Rabba Bar Chana in the name of Rabbi Yochanan definitely argues with Rabbi Nachman Bar Yitzchak, but Ad Rav Kahana Milei Mapliga. Will we say that Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak is arguing with Rav Kahana? Maybe not. Maybe. So, will we say that Rabba Bar Chana is arguing with Rav Kahana? Maybe not. Maybe Rav Kahana would agree that in the case of excessive loss, you are allowed to say it. Kikon Rav Kahana, when Rav Kahana says his rule that people like to have their own stuff, he only meant that when there's a normal rate of loss. And therefore, in the case of excessive loss, he would agree to Rabba Bar Chana and then Rabbi Yechon. So Gemara says, but Rav Kahana said, you'd rather have your own cow rather than 9 cows of somebody else, suggesting that even in the case of excessive loss, you must leave it all alone. So the Gemara said, no, don't give me that. Guzma ba'ama, it's just an exaggeration. It doesn't literally mean that. So we could argue that Rav Kahana actually agrees with Rabba Bar Chana in the name of Yechon. Fine. That's what we did thus far. Now I'm going to move on to a new bit. Everybody okay so far? This is where it gets a bit deep. Okay. Now we're going to have a bit of fun. Get your snorkel on. Right. Now then. So you'll recall that earlier we had a Mishnah, I think it's a Brisa, which says that because the guard is not allowed to sell this produce, therefore the owner is allowed to make it into Truma Masa. That's a Brisa. Can't argue with that.
How many distance away, right? If you're in
the remote control.
Caribbean,
it works. The International Space Station, goodness me, wherever you like. Okay. Brilliant. All right, now, so the Gemara asks, that's all very well, but according to Rabba Bar Chana in the name of Yochanan, how is this going to work? The Brisa which says that guard can make, because the guard can't sell it, the owner can make it Truma Masa. That's what the Brisa says. Rabbi Baba Chana said in the Rav Yochanan that when there is an excessive rate of loss, the guard is meant to sell it.
Without permission.
Because you can't contact the guy. So it's fine, just go ahead and sell it. So the Gemara says, how do these two things fit together? On the one hand, got Rabbi Baba Chana.
It's not his property, is it? The guard's not his property.
Worse than that. What's our worry? I mean, it could be argued that he's selling it as a representative of the owner's interests. That's okay. That could be implicit in the deal of the guardianship. That's fine. But worse, just remind you, the Brisa says the owner is allowed to make it into Truma Masa.
We can't touch it. We can't.
So you daren't sell it.
Yeah.
But what does the Brisa say?
Can if it's going off quicker than it should be naturally.
So hold on. So I'm trying to get confused. Again, Rabbi Baba Chana says in the name of Yochanan that when you have an excessive rate of loss, you can sell it. The Brisa says that the owner can make it into Truma Masa because the guard is not going to sell it.
They can't talk to each other. So the guard and the owner can't talk to each other.
Well, that's one thing. I'll make your question harder.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
On the one hand, the Brisa says because the guard won't sell it, the owner can make it Truma Masa. On the other hand, I've got Rabbi Baba Chana saying when there's an excessive rate of loss, the guard must sell it. Yeah. So I got a direct contradiction there. I'm messing with the Brisa now. So Rabbi Baba Chana, with his well-meaning limiting of this rule to a case of normal loss, and his conceding in the case of excessive loss, you should sell it, has run up against the Brisa. Brisa says you cannot sell it, therefore the owner can make it Truma Masa. But wait a minute, according to Rabbi Baba Chana, he can sell it when there's an excessive loss. So I'm really bashing my head against it. I don't know what to do. Sorry? I got a Gemara right here. The Gemara is going to give the Gemara not only gives us awful questions, it also gives us amazing answers. So it's going to be fine. Where do you think I look, for goodness sake? I'm not super. I just looking all loose. Rabbi Bava Metsia, he's the man. He's amazing. Okay, so the Gemara says again. It's a fabulous question. Basically, the Gemara asks the question. Therefore, because the guard can never sell this fruit, he must keep it under all circumstances. Therefore, the owner can make it into Truma Masa because he can rest assured it's never going to get sold. So there's no problem with making it to Truma Masa. It's just going to sit there. There's no worry about a Levi Yisrael eating it. That's what the Brisa says, like it or not. Comes again, Rabbi Baba Chana says, "Oh, in the case of excessive loss, you must sell it." So it's a direct contradiction. The Brisa is saying you can't sell it ever, and therefore the owner can, in good conscience, make it into Truma Masa because he knows it's going to be sitting there. But got Rabbi Baba Chana saying, if in the case of excessive loss, you must sell it. So what am I supposed to do? So the Gemara asks our question. V'leichush, we should suspect, just in case you want to know where we're up to. We've got, you see, you've got a tosus on the left, which says in big letters, machalokes. Do you see that on the left?
No.
Oh, hold on. That's it.
Okay, that's no.
Okay. So you go right from that word into the text of the Gemara.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And you see 3 words before the end of the line, it says V'leichush. V'leichush, let us suspect. How can the Brisa say, oh, it's okay, the guard will never sell it? According to Rabbi Baba Chana, when it's rotting at an unusual rate, you must sell it. So how can I say, oh, it's okay, kick your shoes off, you want to make it Truma Masa, that's not a problem. Go ahead, because the guard will never sell it. What? Says the one, no, according to Rabbi Baba Chana, I well know a case where I sell it. When it's rotting away at a rate of knots, you sell the stuff. So how can I say, oh yeah, it's fine, making Truma Masa, he ain't going to sell it. No, he is. Now, according to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, this is not a problem because Rav Nachman says never, ever, ever, ever sell it. Never. You must not. Under come hell or high water, leave the stuff there. That's fine. Because Rav Nachman just says that, and there's the brighter fits well. But Rabbi Bava Chana says, oh no, he says, that's only when there's a normal rate of loss. When there's an excessive rate of loss, you must sell it. So how can the brighter come and say, oh, I ain't going to sell it? Never in a million years. Not true. He might well. You can't tell from the Bahamas how the apples are doing in your garage. He's not to know. He thinks they're all fine. He's not got a clue. And you can try and watch, and there's no signal out there. It's says they're not going to the Bahamas, should have still gone to Plymouth. I don't know. What can we do? Okay. The Nechus, let's suspect, says Gemara, maybe the fruit's rotting at an excessive rate, and the Gaal will therefore dutifully sell it, as is his obligation, according to Rabbi Bava Rabbi Yochanan, and that means that when the owner separates, designates it as Truma Masa on his food, it ain't there. It's already been sold. So the owner in the Bahamas says, right, I'm going to make my food in David's guys into Truma Masa. That's what I do with those apples. Therefore, the rest of my apples here in the Bahamas, I can eat because I separated Truma Masa from them in David's garage by remote control. I can do that. So I sit on the beach in the Bahamas with my Israeli grown apples. A zag lick, it's wonderful. So what I'm going to do, before I eat them, I've got to separate Truma Masa, that's fine. So I designate the apples in David's garage, which are also mine, the Truma Masa, which I can do because they're mine. Little do I know that because they were rotting at an excessive rate, you sold them last week. And now they ain't there anymore. I can't designate through a Truma Masa if it's not mine. So that what will happen, that means that I'm eating apples from which Truma Masa has not been taken. Because it wasn't mine when that stuff that I designated Truma Masa is no longer mine. So Gemara says, how can the price say, oh, it's fine, just rest easy, separate Truma Masa, whatever. No. Because according to Rabbi Bava Chana, who says that when it's excessive rate of loss, you do sell it, the fruit might not be there. I don't know why, it's madness. According to Nachman, again, it's fine, because he said, never sell it. Fine. But not Rabbi Bava Chana. That's why Gemara brings this question on him specifically. So what's our answer? It's a fabulous question, no?
It's so confusing. Yes, it is.
What's the answer? The clue is in the word. I've already given you the answer. No, it's simpler than that. It's staring in the face. It's staring in the face. Why does the God sell this fruit?
Because it's rotting
Just explain this to me. What was the word that I used? Rotting at an unusual rate. Sorry, I'm a bit deaf. Just say that again for me, please. I enjoyed hearing it so much. No. I want to hear what you said before. That you word. An unusual rate. So I said, do you see that? It's an unusual rate. It's not normal. So there am I on the Bahamas. I'm thinking, I'm a bit of a worry. I am prone to anxiety. Maybe the apples that I want to designate as Truma Masa in David's garage have already rotted away to nothing. And he's already sold them. In which case, I can't designate them as Truma Masa on my apples here on the beach. How then can I sit here with a serene conscience and make them the Truma Masa for these apples here? Maybe they rotted at an unusual rate. Now, I'm going to ask you a really stupid question, forgive me. And then, are unusual things usual?
No.
Correct. Do I have to worry about unusual things happening? No, because they're unusual. So I want to say, don't worry. We don't have to suspect for something odd. No, I think it's very reasonable. Why not worry that a UFO came and swiped it all away? No, that's unusual. So likewise here, says the Gemara, it's unusual that it rots at an unusual rate. Therefore, you don't have to worry about that. The Gemara said that's what the price is saying. It's quite a clever thing that don't worry about odd situations. Chances are it's all right. Yeah. You're right. We have some very right. But do I have to worry about an odd situation arising when I call it? No. I'm going to go with the run of play. The run of play is that apples will keep for, I don't know, 6 weeks. And after that, they'll get a bit wrinkled, whatever. Nothing major. They're not going to turn to sludge in a couple of days.
Rabbi,
Yes?
after an amount of time, the unusual may become usual. So one has to keep an eye on that as well, because nothing is, everything changes and adapts all the time. So
we're going to come. We're going to come to this. Well done.
Okay.
I can't answer that now. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Fabulous. Okay. Okay. Hold that thought. I can't. I'm sorry I can't answer now, but you'll see. You'll see.
All right.
Okay? Nice one. Okay. So the Gemara says, an unusual rate of loss is unusual, so I don't have to worry about it. So the Gemara says, okay, let's look at it from the other way, from the other point of view. I get why you're saying that the Bryce says the guy can sell it, but let's look at it from the point of view of the guard who's now selling it. So I'm looking at this garage full of apples, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they're falling to bits. It's dreadful. I need to act now because it's just appalling what's happening. So I run to the market with these apples, and I got a gleam in my eye. And I think I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to flog them off quick. Bit of a knockdown price, but that's okay, just to shift them. And then I say they're still good for a crumble. It's fine. Put them in an apple pie. It'll be lovely. You won't know the bruises. It's all fine. Clear away the flies. It's going to be okay. Just send them off today, and I'll pie them high and send them. At least I'll salvage something for the poor owner who I care about so much. I'm on the way to the market, and I think to myself, so I hear the flies buzzing in my low loader behind me. I think to myself, wait a minute. Maybe the owner on the beach has already made them into truma masa. Oh my goodness! If it is truma masa, I can't sell it. Well, I can sell the truma to a kohen. I can sell the masa to a lady. Actually, true, anyone can eat masa really, but truma I can only sell to a kohen. So I can't just take it to Aldi and flog it off. What if he made it into truma? I don't know. I can't tell. It doesn't look different when it's been made into truma, unless I'm a mystic, which I'm not. So how can the guard go and sell it? I get that you're saying the owner doesn't know, so he goes with the runner plate. Presumably, nothing unusual is happening. But what if it did? And I'm the guard, and I look at it from where I am, and if it actually is rotting, oh my days. So, but what if he's already made into truma masa where he is? How can I sell it?
There's no property to sell.
Well, that's the least of my worries. It's implicit that he wants you to look after him in the best way. If that means selling on his behalf, he's fine with that. That's okay. But if it's truma, I can't sell it. What if a non-kohen buys it? I'm limited to all the kohenim, and that's it.
And is it the kohen?
Oh, maybe, but actually, just put my. I don't know why I don't know why I bother. Thank you, David. There's always one. So for Leichus, the Gemara says, Shema Asan Barbai Truma Masa Mokem Achet. Maybe I had to worry that maybe the owner made it Truma Masa. The Gemara says, Kim Zambenin on Nami, when he sells them like Koyanim. He sells them to Koyanim. Thank you very much. It's made to Ruma. Mazmin on Nahum. We said it for the truma price, which is a bit less than regular price because only Kohen can buy it, so less demand for it, and you have to eat it in especially pure state. So the people aren't really that mad to buy truma food. So when they do buy it, it's a knockdown price. So yeah, right, it's good. Fabulous. Wow, I wish I could do that. Okay, so the Gemara's answered fine. All right then. So the owner can make it into truma masa because he doesn't know what's happening and he assumes all is well, and therefore Rabbi Babachano's rule of selling in a case of excessive loss will not kick in. Therefore, it won't have been sold. Therefore, he can make it truma masa on his apples on the beach. From the guard's point of view, if he does need to sell it and he's worried maybe the owner's made it into truma, so you know what? The guard only sells it to kohanim who are allowed to eat truma, and he puts a big note saying these apples may well be truma. Please treat them as such, and the kohanim will queue up. They'll buy it. And then the guard will have some money instead of just a lot of rotten apples, and everybody's happy. So Rabba Baba Chana works as well. Fabulous. Now, so the Gemara says, wait a minute. Here's a thought. You just give me an idea, says the Gemara. We were saying before with Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, according to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, why can he never, ever, ever, ever sell them?
Implication of the given situation that
Then it might have been made into truma.
Yeah.
So the Gemara says, why is Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak getting so worried? Again, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, you can never, ever, ever, ever sell this fruit. Unlike, so he argues with Rabba Baba Chana and Rabbi Yechon. Rabba Baba Chana says, if it's rotting in excessive rate, sell it to Kohanim, and everybody's fine. But according to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, he says, you can never, ever, ever sell it. Why not? Because the owner might have made it into truma. Oh, that's a real problem. So even if it's rotting away before your very eyes, no, owner might have made it into truma. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, I've got an answer. According to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, I've got a way forward. In the case of excessive rot, what must you do? According to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, sell it to a Kohen. Why is Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak coming up with this strong line? What's he so worried about? It's not a problem. Just sell it to a Kohen. Everybody's fine.
That's the argument that it's sold to another cow.
I'm sorry?
That's the argument that it's been sold to another cow with the Bahamas. So we double sold it.
Well, no, he's only making it to truma. That's our only worry. We're not worried that when he's out there, he's going to be selling off. That's too unusual because he gave it to me to look after, not to sell. So I'm assuming that it's dedicated. I hear that. I think that's too unusual. Okay, but Yishakar, I like the question, but I like my answer. Okay, so again, the Gemara says, fine. According to Rabba Baba Chana, who says sell it in a case of excessive loss, then this all makes perfect sense. The owner can make it into truma where he is, because we assume there's not been an excessive rate of loss, and therefore, and that's a reasonable assumption. So it's fine. It'll probably be okay. The guard, if he finds there is an excessive rate of loss, can sell it because he sells it to Kohanim. So even if the owner in the Bahamas did make it into truma, that's not a problem. So the Gemara says, well, according to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, if we bring this same logic in, he says you can never ever sell it. Why? Because the owner might make it into truma. Why did Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak say you can sell it to a Kohen instead of saying never, 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 never? That makes perfect sense, and it's a much more sensible proceeding. It's fine. You're saving the guy a lot of money. But Rav Nachman says he's like a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Never ever. What do you mean never ever? That's ridiculous. Says the Gemara. You still with me? It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. Okay, so that's what the Gemara says now. So you see, there's a line with a little dalad in the middle of the line, just before the word like kohanim. You see that? In the middle of the page, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on. There you are. So we're going to go, whoops. We're going to go from the line below that. It says, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak on the next line. So the Gemara asks, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, now according to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak also, Nazbeninu leKohanim, let the guard sell it to Kohanim, bidmei teruma, at the teruma price, which is slightly less than regularized, but better than saying you cannot sell it under any circumstances. And even according to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, who says we worry about the owner making it into teruma, it's okay. because Kohanim were allowed to eat truma, so there's no problem. So why is Rabbi saying you cannot sell it? What's he getting so strict about? So the Gemara answers Bahar Pligin, and this is where it gets really clever. This is the clever bit. Bahar Pligin, they argue about this. The Rabba Baba Chana thinks that an unusual rate of rot is very unusual. That's very odd. And this is where Anand's point comes in. And if it does happen, lekamehu dahavya yasemikdeches reinon, before it gets to this excessive rate of rot, if the owner is going to make it into truma, he will do so before the rot sets in. So according to Rabbi Baba Chana, when we assume that if the owner is going to make it into truma, it's going to be pretty soon. Because that's what normally happens. How in a couple of days. And let me ask you this: after a couple of days in the garage, how are the apples? They're okay. Come on, a couple of days. You can leave apples in a fruit bowl for a week. They're barely gonna budge. Maybe a plum, maybe, but apples. Well, whatever it is, dates, figs, they last a fair old time. That'd be all right. And any truma masa action will happen long before these catastrophic nightmare scenarios that you're dreaming up where it's all rotting away to rate of knots. That's pretty rare. That's a long way down the line. So long before that happens, you're going to have the truma masa thing happening. Not unreasonable. That's okay. This is the one in Rabba Baba Chana. Hilkach. The Gemara says, therefore, the end of a line, you see Hilkach. Therefore, if there is an excessive rate of rot happening, sell it to Kohanim as truma. Because chances are, if it was truma, it would have been made truma long ago. That is Rabba Baba Chana's construct, which is fine. Now, what about Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak? Says, never, 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 you can never sell that stuff because it might have made it into truma. What? Why not say sell it to Kohanim, everything's fine? That was our problem. And the Gemara said, don't worry, it's okay. He's no fool. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak holds, he says, no. Oh my goodness, you see the apples in my plate. They rot before you look at them. Turn around and it's a heap on the floor. It's horrendous. The rotting of apples, goodness me. Well, you can hardly hold it in your hand. You've barely got it home from the shop. It's already falling to bits. It rots away. Just touch it and it crumbles. Nightmare. Says Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. And if it's going to rot, it's going to happen immediately. And if you say to sell it, Zimnin the Kodim and Mazbenahu is going to sell it very quickly. So by the time the owner is ready to do the Truma Masa separation, maybe it's already sold. Says Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. In which case the owner is going to be eating food from which Truma was never separated. And that's really bad. So Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, because rot can happen so quickly, what's my only remedy for this fruit? What's the only thing I can do?
Break it into account.
But I might be doing that according to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak because rot happens so quickly in Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak land. He may be selling to a kohen before the owner has designated it as truma. In which case, the owner is going to be in trouble in the Bahamas because he's designating as truma fruit which is already sold.
So the poor guy who's looking after the apples can't do anything.
He can't do anything else, which is exactly what Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says. Shkoch. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says you cannot ever sell it because you might be selling it so quickly. You're selling it before the owner done truma masa. But Rabbi Baba Chana says, no, where I come from, rot happens really slowly. Therefore, chances are the owner would have done Truma Mas a long time before, so the owner's fine, send it to Kainim, everybody's fine. So it turns out Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak and Rabbi Bava Chana are arguing about the rate of rot. There you go. It's all about the rate of rot. So again, Rabbi Bava Chana says, I reckon that rot happens very slowly. Therefore, if there's an excessive rate of rot, it's not going to be for a long time. So what are you worried about? You're worried about the owner making to Truma? Well, when he makes him to Truma, it'll probably be after 7 days, like Alan said. Therefore,
It's such a Rabbi, it's such a complete intangible. It depends on so many different circumstances to ever know what the exact. There isn't ever a right or wrong answer with this. It has to be dependent on the situation,
yes,
the country it's in, the heat, the
yes,
type of apple, the type of produce.
yes,
There's so many variables.
yes. So you're right. And a base thing, if they were ruling on this, if the guard came to base saying, what shall I do? They would have to apply the circumstance and what kind of produce it is, where it's being
Yes.
kept, what sort
Yes.
of area, you have to apply to the situation to see what to do.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yes.
But truth is, I'm not even going that far. Or I'm not going as far as saying what to do in practice. This is not real life. This is Gemara. This is far above. What I'm doing, I'm just trying to work out how Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak and Rabbi Bava Chana actually make sense.
But they don't in a sense because they both look at from a different angle.
Yes, yes,
One's saying that the apples will go now. The other one's saying, well, it's not going to happen.
yes, yes.
And therefore, you're looking at intangible, you're looking at evidence.
Yeah,
And each case might be different.
yeah, you're right. And truth is, when the Gemara does this, when it says it's an argument about the physical reality, we're a bit uncomfortable with that. Because find out.
The principles can't cope with the physical reality in this case. It's another principle.
So you want to say to me that maybe if Rav Nachman, so maybe one would agree to the other in particular
Yes.
circumstances. Maybe.
Which is where the best thing has to work.
Which
Yeah.
best thing, if it's in the area which
Exactly, yeah.
fruit goes
But they would
quickly,
know.
they will pass it on a different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
maybe.
would know.
Rabbi,
Yeah,
you could be in very cold temperatures, say somewhere in the deepest Russia, where it wouldn't rot at all because
you're
of
right.
the frost would stop it rotting like it does with bodies and stuff.
Yes, or you could be in the tropics, in the Brazilian jungle, and it rots within a few hours.
Yeah.
You're right. So you
Yeah.
need to you need to form a view on that. But as I say, I don't actually care about that. All I care about is making Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak and Rabbi Bava Chana both make sense. And I can do that by saying they're talking from different realities.
Yeah.
That's all I'm worried about.
Which is what we've
No, I'm not fussed about this is Gemara. I'm not fussed about what to do. It's about the learning. That's what counts here. So as long as I can make each one self-consistent, I'm cool. And that's what I've done. Rabbi Bava Chana is talking where things rot slowly. Therefore, the owner would have separated Truma long beforehand. The owner's okay. I said it to Kohanim Truma, that's fine. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak is it talking from a context where things rot very quickly. So if you sell it off ever, it will probably be pretty soon. And there's a way that the owner won't yet have made it into Truma. Therefore, when the owner does so, he doesn't realize it's already been sold and he's eating food from which Truma has not been taken. That's very bad.
But you've actually got the reality when you take produce to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
At a certain point at which you have to sell the produce and then take the money there.
Yeah.
Right. So in other
Master
words,
Shani.
there was a reality situation.
Yeah.
It wasn't simply everybody galloping on with the theoreticals.
Right.
And therefore, the same thing should happen here.
You're talking halacha.
Yes.
I'm not talking halacha here. Gemara is not always about halacha. It's also about making sure that each opinion makes sense. And we challenge them as hard as we can to make sure they all